It is the Blue Room. It is your instant reaction for Nottingham Forest. Oh, sorry, Notts Forest, I believe, as they are actually called. Nil, Everton. Those tricky Toffees on the road. One. What a win. Absolutely made up with that. Joining me to go through it, Pete McFarlane is on the call. Dave Downey will be on the call soon. Matt Flusk is going to be on the call for a few minutes. You're currently braving the elements, the minus temperatures outside the Denby Castle in Tower, mate. But how'd you feel after that? What a win.
But the reason I come outside is because it is so hot inside. Like, for the last 15 minutes of it, everyone's sweating. But yeah, I said to Connor there, start to finish, the perfect away performance. They didn't have a shot on target in the first half. We got the goal and saw it out. There was a couple of hairy moments in the second half, but we never really looked like we were about to, throw it away or nothing. So it's become par for the course now with Dyche, hasn't it? I think we kind of take it for granted. There was a lot of people grumbling at half time and stuff. It's like, don't forget, it's still an away game against a team who took points off so many clubs last season and this season. Like, since they've come up, they've beaten Arsenal at their place, they've beaten Liverpool at their place. So for us to go there and take 3 points with a clean sheet, that's something else.
Yeah, absolutely made up. Dave does join us now on the call, as you can see. But Pete, I'll come to you first, mate. Do you want to replicate your intro into the call before we start recording?
Yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely delighted, mate. I'm absolutely delighted. Did you mean the intro
I wanted you to sing the Dwight McNeil song, yeah, like you did to me.
I was saving that for later, but do you know what? That's the only way to summarize that game, isn't it? You make me feel Dwight McNeil. I'll be singing that in my sleep tonight.
That's Maggie in the background there. Sorry to quickly interrupt you, just to tell you, there was 2 American copites in the pub, and they stayed for the whole match. And then at the end, they were filming the celebrations.
They're probably waiting for an Origi goal, weren't they? Bless them.
I was as well. I tried to put a bet on it, but Paddy Power wouldn't even give you a marker.
It was just so odds on. But no, go on,
yeah,
Pete.
I'm going on mute now because Maggie won't stop heckling.
All right, mate. Enjoy.
Tell Maggie as well, she just missed Blue Room karaoke yet again. But I thought it was an outstanding performance from Everton. I mean, a lot of credit's got to go to that back line as well, James Tarkowski in particular. When Forest towards the end were trying to sort of go for like the long ball and a bit of I wouldn't say onslaught, but they were obviously going for it, and they were trying to put us on the back foot a bit. I thought James Tarkowski was incredible. James Garner as well, absolutely. It was probably his best performance, I think, in an Everton shirt. Although he's been great all season, but I thought Garner and Tarkowski in particular for me stood out as 2 fantastic players today. And then obviously our Prince, Dwight McNeil, I think he's needed that goal. I think there's been a few people questioning his selection recently as well, which I'm baffled by, because I think that Dwight McNeil's one of them players where he always does have that moment in him, but also he works himself into the ground. And I think because of all that hard work that he's put in so far this season, it's very appropriate for him to get that winner today. I thought he was absolutely superb.
Yeah, Dave, I'll come to you, mate. I'm just so happy with that. Like, I think like all week and doing the shows, I've been sort of like starting to feel a bit down the dumps about things and, feeling a bit sorry for ourselves. And it would have been so easy for that to have crept into the players and the manager and like the camp in general after last weekend and looking at the table and seeing us 5 points behind. But, fair play to those lads. They went there today and they were dominant, I think, for 80% of the game, scored the goal at the right time. And when they had to defend, when they had to put the bodies on the line, they did it. And it's just such a satisfying win. And I think, the 11 lads who started, Chimiti, the manager, coaching staff, massive pat on the back to them all. That's a great win.
Yeah, I have to say on Monday, Matt, it's probably the most positive Monday show we'll have for, I think, since we've started again, won't it? Like, my voice is nearly gone as well, so I'll need some soother or something tomorrow. Yeah, in my opinion, I'm not trying to get too far ahead of this, but that was our best performance of the season, I think, in my opinion. The only thing that lacked it maybe was bagging in another 2 or 3 goals, because we were miles better than Nottingham Forest. Defensively, everybody's throwing themselves on the line. But, if you hadn't watched this game and you're hearing us say that, it sounds like, it's going to be 50-50, everybody with the bodies throwing themselves at the ball. I didn't quite think it was like that for most of the game. I thought we dominated it. And in a funny way, where I've banged on with Pete, I've banged on with you, and everybody else who's been in our shows about possession. We have more of the ball than them. And I was thinking, how are we going to use this? We created chances. We got the ball into the right areas. Beto, still think he's shite, but I think he caused a lot of issues for Forest. Midfield, James Garner as well, who we've spoken about personally. Me and you have spoken about him a lot, Matt. That's the best game he's ever had in a blue shirt. You lads have been talking about man of the match. I've got a different one than everyone so far, and I've been banging on about him for quite a while, and that was Michalenko. I'm not joking.
He was great again today. Yeah,
he looks like a top class left back. He was getting forward when he needed to. He looks a lot quicker than I remembered him to be. Anyone that was coming over this side and running him to the touchline, he'd get alongside them, no problem at all. Look, the context of this game is huge, isn't it? Said a lot again. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but us away from home is just much more comfortable. I'm not too sure why. Obviously, the big home games to come are going to be an issue for us to settle. But away from home, I feel it's a lot more comfortable. It feels like that. Look, how much we banged on about Branthwaite, and you probably wouldn't put him in the top 3 or 4 players you've had in this game, and that's not because he didn't play well. It was because he was comfortable. I felt like he was comfortable anytime the ball got through to him, anytime there was a header to be won. I think one of the lads there, either Matt or Pete, was saying there about Tarkovsky. Thought he was magnificent as a captain as well. Harrison, someone else who's been getting a load of criticism. First half, he lost the ball a bit, and I was sat there thinking, yeah, I think we need to take him off. But again, when we needed to keep possession, this is the best that I've seen us for all season long. Decore as well. There were lads that were happy to jog it back if they needed to. Nobody who just had to stay up front or couldn't be asked doing it or whatever like that. What did you say on Monday to me, Matt, about getting a load of lads together and fighting for what we needed to do? Maybe a bit cliche what we were talking about, but that's identical to what we were saying on Monday's show about what these lads need to do to get out of this shit.
Yeah, just battle, didn't they? Just like, and I think Pete, I think Pete for me, like as well, like that first half, we were the better side by far. They have that one shot from Malanga that flashes past, but we have big moments. We have big moments to create big moments, which we don't quite do. And I think it was quite similar to the Brentford game. I remember feeling like this at half time, where we should have been a goal up at least going into the break. I think it was 1-1 that game, wasn't it? But we dominated the first half. And I think sometimes, and you think about Everton teams away from home in the past, when they have a good first half and they don't take the chances, you sort of know what's coming in the second half. You think, we're going to rue them. Maybe people are still feeling a bit sorry for themselves. The opposition are going to grow in stature. But it was just like, half time never happened, really, was it? I think they have like a little flurry at the start of the second half. But Everton, as soon as the pace slowed down and the game settled into a tempo again, it was just James Garner getting it, giving it, playing it out wide. And we just totally took control of the game again. And, and then we get that goal at the right moment. And I think to be able to do that away from home, after, to put those missed chances behind you, something we can't really seem to do at home. I think it says that while there's still issues in this team, while there's still, lacking in maybe some quality, maybe lacking in some squad depth, but there's certainly a lot of character and a lot of bottle with these lads, isn't there?
There is, and I think we've said before that was the biggest job that Sean Dyche had when he came into Everton, was to change the mentality and to instill that belief and that fighting spirit back into this squad of players who've been basically on the ropes for the last 3 seasons. Well, it's the 3rd season now where their confidence has been shot, and I think that's been the biggest test for Sean Dyche, is to get that mentality back in the players. And like you say, I mean, as a supporter watching it, we always have that feeling. As an Evertonian, you always have that feeling of we're gonna regret these chances, like we did last week against Manchester United. We always have this feeling that something's going to go wrong, even towards the end when you see Origi coming on. It's like you just have this. It's like PTSD, where you see him warming up on the touchline and you think, oh my God, it's happening. They haven't done anything all game other than the odd little flash chance, and then you see him warming up. Who, by the way, let's be honest, he turns into prime Cristiano Ronaldo whenever he plays against us.
He's absolutely crap otherwise. He's like
He's a
Martial.
yard dog.
Like,
He is a yard dog 99% of the time.
Didn't we try to get him, by the way, before he went to Liverpool back in the day?
Just stop him scoring against us.
It's the same issue as Martial, though, isn't it, Dave? If he didn't play against Everton, who would he score against? Like,
it's like Iwobi only ever scores against Wolves, doesn't he? It's like this weird thing.
Yeah.
We've got it's the curse, but we've managed to break that curse today as well now, which is a nice bonus on top of a nice little cherry on top. But I just thought, like you say, in terms of the character and the battling qualities that we showed, I thought it was fantastic. But again, just to touch on that point, I think it's a very basic thing to just talk about the like you've both just said. It wasn't just about the battling qualities; it was about the calmness on the ball as well. At times, it was a little bit ropey at times, and there were times where we had to just get rid of it. But I thought, by and large, we looked really comfortable. And looking back at the game, which I will do, I'll end up watching the full 90 minutes again, like I always do. If we win, I'm sure it'll be a much more enjoyable watch than it was watching the first time round, because, like I said before, as an Evertonian, you've always got it in the back of your mind till the final whistle goes.
Yeah, the goal scorer, Dave McNeil. Pete said there that there's been.
You make me feel Dwight McNeil.
Mate, you know what? You go back 3 hours. If you go back 3 hours, people would think you were a madman saying that about McNeil. Because I'll be honest, mate. I think he's been garbage lately, but I know he'll probably slap me if we win.
No, I was going to say, Pete said some people were talking about him being in the team or not. And I was certainly in one of those categories. Like, and I think by and large he has been quite poor this season, and it's just a case of if ever a lad needed a goal, then it was him. And I think you could see that with that one in the first half, couldn't you? Which was cleared off the line. He kind of has that moment in front of the away fans where he's just his head's up in the air, and it's like, fucking hell, what do I have to do here? He had one against United the other week, didn't he? Which is blocked on the line as well. It sort of felt like he was getting into that stage a little bit where what are we now? 14 games into the season, he's not scored yet after quite a prolific end to last year. But despite all that, like in a funny sort of way, as soon as that ball dropped to him, and as soon as you realised he's going to hit this with his left foot, it was just like there was nowhere else that was going to end up, was there?
Yeah. And what a dummy from Beto as well. No, the other thing I was going to say to him, which is a little bit different to what you referred to him, Matt, was how much it looked natural that we had Mykolenko and him on that left-hand side, because he was going back and he was helping him. The sort of thing we've been complaining about with Harrison and Young on the other side. I thought it was so disciplined from McNeil. I didn't see him anything rash when they're trying to bring the ball forward, when they have possession of it. Didn't see him trying to dive into things.
In the second half, he came central loads more, didn't he? And I think that freed up Mykolenko to get forward and just allowed him to get on the ball in better areas. Yeah,
and a lot of confidence on allowing that as well. Allowing that Mykolenko's got a little bit of freedom. Great that they actually noticed him. Maybe there's a bit, every lad's looking in there and thinking, you know what, that's maybe the best option for us to get forward, just to knock it to him on the left. In regards to how he is and he's been for us, he's been very mixed. And again, I hope I'm not making Pete cry here on the other side of things, but I say he wouldn't be in my starting 11 as much as he could be, to be honest with you. Dave.
Tread carefully.
I know, mate, I've got to come to you at some point this week, haven't I, when you've got your shirt on with it. But yeah, I mean, when it come through to him, I was thinking there's nobody better you want it in that position on the pitch with it in that sort of left-hand corner just outside the 6-yard box. There's nobody else, I think, with it, well, other than Mykolenko, who's got a ball.
And it's like, sorry to interrupt you again, like, it's different with him, because like the one in the first half, I didn't really fancy him, even though it's in quite a similar position, because like he's got to have the like when it sits up for him, like in a funny sort of way, you kind of fancy him more, because he's going to strike a clean from that. Does that make sense, or is that just me talking?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think when sometimes when I see him in a great position where he can shoot, when he has that first touch, I think it takes my heartbeat down a little bit, because I'm thinking that's either going straight to the keeper or he's going to blast it over. I think when you see it from like where it's a little bit more of a natural ball, where he has to just touch it as quick as he can and then hit it, I fancy him a lot more there. You think, I mean, everyone goes back to it when he scores a goal. It's the Brighton game towards the end of last season. A lot of it was exactly like you've just said there. And then the one he hits in the first half, it was a classic miss where they've shaved it off the line. You're thinking it's going to be one of them days. It's definitely going to be one of them days. And he hits that firm across probably couldn't have hit any better or done any better than that, really. And it was a great clearance, to be fair to him. But the thing that gets me more than anything else in this match is probably too early in saying this in the post match, because obviously we say these sort of things when we come to the end. But seeing a performance like that and what I've banged on about in the last couple of weeks with Dyche, is he the perfect man to be the manager when you need this sort of shit happening? Absolutely. That looks like, and again, we mentioned it last Monday. I'd encourage anyone to go back and listen to what we were talking about with this on Monday, but obviously we'll do it on the forthcoming Monday. Is getting these lads gathered together for this, and we've been done in the right way of going about it, not pissing and moaning. Fans sounded amazing down there as well. Had the horrible bloody Scouse, beat the Scousers and all that coming to that time of year, isn't it? Felt like it's togetherness where everyone's had their back against the wall, on the pitch and off the pitch, and everybody's got to it in the real way we need to get to it. And I don't think I've been more satisfied about the performance for quite some time, to be honest with you. That isn't me going over the top because it's only happened an hour ago, but I think I'll be saying the exact same thing tomorrow.
I think you're absolutely right, because let's not forget, like, no Calvert-Lewin either. Like, that's
exactly
that's like no Onana. Like, and you look at that bench, and Chimiti came on, bless him, but he may as well have not have really. He didn't really contribute anything to the game. You've got the situation where the centre half who comes on at half time, makes 3 yellow card tackles, and somehow stays on the.
I've never seen him before, by the way.
Oh, he's like a gnarly old, like, you can tell he used to play for Atletico, can't you, under Simeone? He's that type of yard dog centre back. So, like, I think like, as much as, like, when we spoke on Monday, it was kind of like you can't really take the context into account because of what happened so early in that game, and they score a wonder goal, and it kind of all just melts away a little bit after that. But I think today was a bit different, because the context was, if we lost here, you look at the games we've got coming up, and they are rock hard, aren't they? Newcastle on Thursday is going to be really tough. Chelsea, who we would be above in the league, it's probably worth stressing at this point if we hadn't had the 10 points off. That's going to be a tricky game, because they are a bit of a shambles, but they've got really good players. We've got City, we've got Spurs away, we've got Burnley away, which won't be easy. And it's not necessarily the games we've got. It's the proximity of them and how tight it is. And you look at that squad there, and you think already, we're probably one injury away in central midfield, or one injury away up front from being, or out wide from being, really down to the bare bones there. So getting these points on the board now is so important. It's so important given what's coming up.
But the question as well that we've been asking too is, how do you channel what we've just done today into doing that at Goodison? Is it even possible to do so? And obviously it's something we'll discuss a hell of a lot more in the week up to Thursday. But you just, if you could put that in a bottle and take that to Goodison Park, I don't think we'd have much of a problem with getting results at Goodison, even against the better sides. And obviously I don't want to go that and put us on a bit of a downer, because the feeling after that was, this is the old Everton, isn't it? This is the Everton that's been at its peak in years gone by. Don't think I'm exaggerating in saying that. But it puts even further into your mind Goodison coming up, doesn't it? And just is it that half a dice to go in there on Monday and say, listen, lads, just replicate that, just do that again, and we're sound. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's become like a thing, hasn't it? Now, like,
exactly.
It's like I imagine that'll be in their heads. But I mean, just finally, Pete, on the game tonight. We've all briefly mentioned him, but James Garner, man of the match on Sky, absolute by a mile, I think, as you both said, his best game for Everton tonight. Comfortably the best player on the pitch. And I think, Dave, we've spoken in the past off podcasts and a bit on. And
I have to admit here that I give you a really hard time when we've been on air.
And I think I've said in the past that maybe I don't quite buy into the James Garner hype maybe as much as others. Like, I've always kind of wanted to see a bit more from him. I don't think I've ever seen him really boss a game in an Everton shirt, defensively, attacking wise. I've always felt like, he's all right, but you want to see a bit more. But Pete, it was all there tonight, wasn't it? Defense, carrying the ball forward, battling, playing good passes in the final third, just the complete midfield performance.
Yeah, and I think a large part of that will be that he's now finally in a settled position, and he's had a good few games now where he can settle into that role, and he knows he's got set role in that side. He's trusted by Dyche. He's not just getting thrown in, on the right hand side where he's not that comfortable. He's not just almost like an afterthought. He's one of the first names on the team sheet for me now, and I think that shows in his performance. I think that he's, like you say, there are still areas of improvement for him, but I think that performance today should be the benchmark now. He can take massive confidence from that. The players around him will take massive confidence from that as well, because there are going to be games where we're going to need him to step up, just like today. In fact, we need him to step up every game like he did today. If he can find that consistency in that performance and carry that through till the end of the season, I think he's got all the quality. I think he's got all the quality to be a fantastic central midfielder for Everton.
You got to mention Garner in there with him as well, Pete.
Yeah, well, I think as well the role becomes slightly different as well, doesn't it? Because I think with Amadou Onana, one of the big positives of Onana coming in, and once Garner sort of took that knock, I think Amadou Onana stepped up as well because of the responsibility that he's been given in that role, which he tends to be a bit more of a playmaker, if you like, from that deep role, and he's more comfortable getting the ball from deep. I actually thought he was starting to get a decent little partnership with James Garner, but maybe just that extra little bit of responsibility, something has switched in his head where he knows he has to step up and he has to be that playmaker, or the one who's going to get on the ball and dictate the play. So again, what you want ideally is for both players to take on that mantle and to take that confidence of being comfortable in possession, and wanting to take games by the scruff of the neck. Because if we can get Onana and James Garner playing to the top, to their full potential, then we've got two fantastic central midfielders there, and we can be a match for any side. But also, going back to your point about the in terms of how much this 3 points means, after such a big blow and something that was out of our hands as supporters, as players, it's got nothing to do with the players. It's got nothing to do with us supporters. What's happened is, it was totally out of our control. We're the ones who've been hit the most by this disgusting punishment. It's got nothing to do with the people who've actually made the decisions, or the people who should have been punished. If there was a punishment, it's been aimed at the wrong people. And I think psychologically for us as supporters and for the players, getting some of those. Because imagine if we, the longer you go without getting those points, the more of a task it becomes, the more challenging it seems, and the more hard done by you feel. And it's very easy to slip into that mentality of, feeling sorry for yourself. But I don't think that's the mentality any of us have got. I think we've got that fight, and we are, we're a very angry set of supporters, and the players certainly show today as well. I think they feel that it's unjust. They've had their points taken away from them, and it was great to see us go away and start clawing some of those points back that were unjustly taken away from us.
Yeah, I mean, just on Garner again, Dave. I was just thinking there when Pete was talking. Like, I just love the moment when he bollocked Pickford. Do you know, for that ridiculous throw out? Like when Pickford launched the ball out, and it was like, "What are you doing?" And he has to make that amazing block. Like, that's not something I suppose you do in your first season or your first few weeks at a football club. And obviously his first season was a bit, all over the place, wasn't it, with injuries and, different managers, different players in midfield, playing different positions. But like, that's like, as much as it was like a bad moment and one we'd want to avoid, like that, I think that just kind of shows like he's settled here now, and to be able to feel like he can bollock a senior player like that is good, from the sense that he is obviously feels like a bit of a leader, and he's also obviously really settled in his environment now as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He changed him instantly, didn't he? And started hitting his head, saying, "What are you doing?" And
Pickford gives enough out. Pickford gives plenty out himself, so it's fair enough he took some back. Yeah.
If you'd have explained the complete opposite, if nobody was watching at the time, or you would have commentated, it'd be like, "I think you made a mistake saying that." And the look on Pickford's face too is a bit of a price to pay too. When you look at the way he turns to him, and he starts doing that thing where you'd expect from Pickford to start balling at someone. But it is, as he's saying it, it's almost like he realises what he's done because of what he's saying to him. And he sort of calmed down as he was doing it. And then it showed a replay on what Garner was saying to him in reverse. And, it does, I don't go as far as saying it takes some bottle. But you're right, I think that it proves an authority at a club. It proves that you're comfortable being able to do that sort of thing. I mean, how many others would you'd expect a young player maybe, or even someone who's experienced, just put their head down and crack on because he's made a mistake and he's the more senior player at the club, probably the most senior player at the club that's on the pitch at the moment. For that to happen, It takes a bottle to do that, really, and I don't think it's any coincidence that he was at Forest, wasn't he, season before last, on loan from Man United, and obviously he's walked in there and thought, I'll need to show these what I've got now, and not coming back here shows me that I made the right decision to go to Everton. And you got everything, his mentality, the way in which he played. You know, when he put that list of everything he's done right, he was first in everything that he'd done on that pitch. And I think he's had it. He's always had it in his lock. And I think, like you said, it's been absolutely right. As much of the chatting we've had about him, Matt, I think you're absolutely right. There's a hell of a lot more in him that frustrates you when you watch him not doing it. And today, any of his critics elsewhere, he's absolutely proved wrong. Proved right, sorry. No, proved wrong.
Yeah. It's probably worth saying as well, on Pickford. Great. I mean, the save on Alanga where he's out quick to him is absolutely fantastic.
I was like a slide tackle.
Yeah, that was so good.
Yeah. His celebration as well. Love the celebration.
Yeah, he does it all the time, doesn't he, with stuff like that.
But yeah, just made up.
Yeah.
Like you said as well, Dave, as much as they were singing Feed the Scousers, you know, feasting on 3 points, aren't we? After
exactly
that.
Right, that's exactly right. Spot on.
And I'm sure Steve Cooper as well, bless him, the biggest moaning manager in the Premier League, will be kicking off about the Corey penalty, or whatever it was.
Doesn't Sean Dyche is from around there, isn't he? He lives around there as well.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll be going to the shops and walking a bit slower tomorrow, won't he? If he's,
he'll have his curtains closed tonight, won't he?
Oh no, he'll be wide open watching Match of the Day, won't they?
The way he is, probably, mate. Yeah.
I'll be taking that tune and singing Dwight McNeil scoring goals at Christmas time. Dwight McNeil.
We don't live that far away from each other, mate. I'm going to have to come and knock at yours in half an hour if you're still doing this.
You sound like you want to get down to the Denby, mate. They're having a party down there. So.
I've told you this before. I've got a WhatsApp group dedicated to Dwight McNeil songs. We've got there's 3 of us, and it's popping off right now.
I'm not ready for that, mate. I'm still not ready for that.
I'll add you to the group, Dave.
That must be the most
become a believer.
Everton WhatsApp group of all.
Is it not? I know.
It's amazing. There's literally 200, 300 chants now.
There can't have been many messages in that group the last few weeks up until tonight.
I've got an entire Christmas album, Matt. We've got an entire Christmas album.
The Dwight McNeil Christmas album.
Just watch this space. Is all I'm saying. You might be seeing one from a certain Evertonian.
I was going to say, is this a tease of a collab with Pepper Mills?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
You sound like a player who's about to move transfer. Like, I'm not going to rule it out.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in football or Christmas singing in this case. Oh God, yeah, amazing. Anyone else you want to give any shouts to before we go? I thought James Tarkowski was absolutely boss tonight as well.
Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, I take the piss quite a bit out of Beto, but we started playing what you don't necessarily want us to with DCL out, and that is just a long ball. It started a little bit, started to get it started to get thrown into the game a little bit too much. And to be fair to him, he held it up. What follows that is when he holds it up, fine enough laying it off, but then there's nothing really that comes back to him, or that he gets into a position where you want him to put him through on goal.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like I think the thing about a manager not ever making substitutes is that when you have an injury to a player that plays all the time, he's coming in and he's like cold, isn't he? He's completely cold. Like he didn't play last week. Was the last time he was on the pitch? Burnley, was it?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
and he only got 20 minutes that night. It's like, what do you expect from someone who's completely new to the league?
Yeah,
hardly played.
I think he's just trying too hard, isn't he? He's trying too hard. That's his problem.
He certainly tried too hard for that absolute shitter.
Yeah, he did.
I can't believe he missed that.
Everything though. He's overthinking everything. When you see a striker on form, they don't think. They just their natural instinct kicks in, and that's when they get the goals. And
I felt sorry for him. I felt sorry for him because you see the look on his face, and he's just putting his hands all over his head, and just didn't realise that he'd actually missed such a sitter. When I seen the replay, did I look at it and think, if he missed it goes in, and he's tried to put his foot through it as hard as he can, throw it into the top corner. He had Decore next to him. He had McNeil alongside him as well. And at the end of it, and again, it's harsh on him.
You just got to
Well,
score
yeah, that's
that.
it. I'm looking at it thinking that's the worst person it's gone to.
But like it's,
but you know,
if you go back and watch that chance.
Point.
So I was going to say, if you go back and watch that chance, it's like he's already running off to celebrate. With, like, as he's taken the, it's like he's thinking about like that moment of having scored with the fans before he's actually done the moment. If you get what I mean, like,
because the angle he hits it at probably is the thing why it goes up in the air.
Yeah,
if you want him to miss it because he couldn't miss if he missed it.
Yeah, it's tough for him coming in. Like, and I think this is going to be, that would have been the same if Danjuma played coming or if Coleman had come back in. Like coming completely out the cold and just going into a game like that would have been tough. But no, I thought Tarkowski was great, as well. Did
you feel that about Braithwaite, Matt? By the way, I want to ask.
Yeah, I think he was fine. Yeah, I think Tarkowski
he was fine, but it's really weird coming away from a game where we've conceded chances. We've had to win a lot of headed balls thrown into us, but you're not necessarily looking at Braithwaite and thinking, he was terrific doing that. And by that, I mean praising him because he just looks so comfortable.
There was one great header in the second half.
But if you go back to that, I know he wasn't with us last season, but if you go back to that a year or 18 months and you see him with a performance like that, you're rating it as like an 8 or 9 out of 10. Now, when you see him as a central defender for us, he's such a higher stock for us that I'd see that as a pretty average performance for him. It's such an easy one for him, if you get what I mean.
Do you know the other thing to bear in mind as well is that it's the confidence that players have in him. So, for example, I feel that James Tarkowski has more confidence to be able to break out and to go and win those headers himself rather than feeling like he has to cover his shoulder all the time. I think that shows the development of Braithwaite in terms of not just him as a footballer, but in terms of his stature within the club as well, in terms of in that team. I think the players around him have more trust in him. So they he can be the one to drop back slightly and Tarkowski can go forward and go for the headers because Tarkowski has the confidence. The Braithwaite can come in and mop up behind him. Rather than having to be stuck next to him all the time. I think that probably contributed to it, to be honest with you. But again, I think a lot of that was to do with James Tarkowski just stepping up. Proper full-on captain's performance for him, by the way.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Sorry, just on that duo at the back. Did you see how many times second half the Tarkowski had the ball and ran towards the final third?
Yeah.
Rather than just playing his usual diagonals, he ran into their boxes trying to play balls into people with their back to goal or push it out wide to Harrison or McNeil on the other side or Michalenko, where he's just left Braithwaite in our half on his own. That's a lot of trust that he does as a captain to do that. So again, it shows you how far he stepped forward in Braithwaite.
Yeah, just I think Braithwaite's the biggest compliment you can pay. Is like you don't even really think about. Like you just see his name on the team sheet, he's like, he's sound. He's absolutely fine. But I think
seems to love it as well, Matt. He seems to love.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
love his position, love his craft.
He was, and again, like I think he was just like a 7 out of 10 tonight, wasn't he? Which is like, it's mad to say. Like
he hasn't had to be an 8 or a 9, has he?
Yeah, he hasn't. But like I think like if you looked at like a young defender, how old is he? 21, 22? Like if you like a young defender like playing away from home against someone like Chris Wood, who is shite, let's be honest. But like he's a handful, isn't he? Yeah, he's a handful. But it's like it's one of those like litmus tests. You feel like a young defender would like have to pass, like think, right, you're up against the yard dog striker here. It's cold, you're under the lights, the atmosphere is really good, you're up against it, all these things. And it was just like, yeah, I'm what? Like, and he was absolutely
walking the path. Yeah.
But like I saw on Twitter before we came on, someone saying that Tarkowski was on a free was the best signing we've made since signing Lukaku, and it's like quite hard to argue with that. Like I think
it's a good one to think about, isn't it?
I think he started the season quite off, but I think in the last few weeks since Braithwaite has gone next to him, I think he's been really good. And I say this all the time on this podcast, but I am always amazed by how good he is at attacking crosses from set pieces and winning that first header. I'm surprised teams haven't got onto it. I'm gonna put 2 men on him more often because he always wins that first ball and it causes mayhem.
Braithwaite, you mean?
No, Tarkowski.
Yeah.
I think again, he's not someone like with an amazing leap or he doesn't like tower in the air, but he just always seems to just muscle his way to that first ball and win the knockdown. And we sometimes we create something from it, sometimes we score from it, but it's always awkward for the opposition to deal with. So I think he deserves a lot of credit. He's been a really good player for us overall since he came in.
Absolutely right. And you know, it was really stereotypical to say, oh well, when Dyches came in, he's now got him and Keane, his old duo that he had at Burnley. You're thinking this is going to be hard to watch these two, even though they're solid. You'll probably just see them getting the ball when they do get hold of it and just throwing it as long as forward as they possibly can. Obviously, Keane's nowhere near the first 11 at the moment, but I think having Brandt, they complement each other really well. And him himself, I didn't have any doubt with him whatsoever, to be honest. I think, and he scored that goal, didn't he, against Arsenal, that very first goal. I think put him up in everybody's feeling towards him coming in as an Everton centre half, and now he's the captain as well. I think he's built for that sort of thing, but I don't think it's in an obvious way. Because they've seen him, Paul Tierney was dreadful today, by the way, because that lad who come on for them, that Felipe, should have been sent off 3 or 4 times. And Tarkowski's straight over. And every time he does that, or every time a defender does that, you think, you're getting a yellow there for kicking off. You're getting a yellow there for kicking off. I think I think it's quite funny the way in which he does that sort of thing, you know, with referees. Because he goes over and it looks like he's just having a general chat with them, and they have a smile at each other and all that. Whereas you can imagine any other centre back running over and screaming at the ref, and the ref turns around and gives them a yellow, and then they're fucked for the rest of the game. He's really, really intelligent, and like I say, seeing him today bring the ball forward, not really seen that from him in the past. So, you know, he probably doesn't get to do it again with the fixtures we've got coming up. But it's nice to know he's got that sort of thing in his locker when we can go away from home and you get a bit of space to attack. And just on that point, I think Forest were really strange in how they control the ball. Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Steve Cooper, I know he's on the line there, his job, isn't it? And you wouldn't be surprised to see him going. But yeah, it didn't feel to me, and a lot of people said this in the lead up to this, it seemed like a strange game because neither side would feel at their best with the ball, which is what I thought we did really well. Is when we had possession, we dealt with it really well, which we're not used to away from home. They looked all over the place in 6s and 7s every single time they got the ball. You know, I couldn't think of anybody in their particular midfield that you'd think, do you know what, they were half decent. I couldn't look at any of their players elsewhere. I don't look at any of them and think Gibbs White's meant to be some sort of superstar. Didn't see much from him at all up against Mikalenko in the second half as well. That's obviously a massive credit to our player. But, you know, they could be in danger. I don't want to talk too much about them, obviously, but they could be in danger. We could get upward near them for us because you've got a manager that doesn't look like he's doing much there. And you've got a load of players they keep buying every single season who don't look like an 11. You look at the two sides there today. If you didn't know either of them or you weren't into football and you looked at that game, you'd think Everton were a comfortable mid-table side, and Forest were the side that was struggling.
Well, we are, aren't we? In reality,
well, we are. Yeah, give us them 10 points back. You know what I mean? We're fighting for the Europa Conference next season. But yeah, I mean,
Dave, look at this, Dave, loving it, talking about Europe and everything. Absolutely.
Mate, we've got that appeal. I think that appeal is going to be bosh. You know, I don't think they're just going to give us 10 points back. They'll give us another 12. So because he made a mistake and our heads have all gone, so they should give us more points back.
You're actually really good, so we're going to give you an extra 2 points. Dwight
McNeil turns up in a suit.
Oh god! Right?
Did you all think it was weird? By the way, sorry, dead quick. Did you think it was really weird? Because when you're talking about the Forest players, I thought Alanga was the one who was the main threat for them, and he seemed to burn off Ashley Cole every time he got it. Certainly in the first half, and I just don't understand why they didn't use him more. I thought that was their one threat, and I couldn't understand what they were doing because he probably only had 2 or 3 runs at Ashley Young, and he rinsed them every time, and I just didn't. Maybe that was to do with how we, slightly changed positioning in the second half. I know Harrison was doing a lot of work off the ball, but I just thought it was bizarre from them. They
just on one point, sorry, Pete. Just going to say, just on one point there, and probably a little reflection of ourselves and how much we've complained and how much money we've spent on players that haven't really been that good for us over the past 7 years under Mashiri. If you think that if you're a Nottingham Forest fan and they've spent a couple of £100 million since they've been back in the Premier League, and you've got Chris Wood as your only striker that you play, you'd be fuming as much as we are these days. We ended up with.
Yeah, I think their game plan was like, Gibbs White, draw players in, then out to Alanga, wasn't it? And I think we did a really good job of just like stopping like Gibbs White from getting out with the ball, if that makes sense. And like
and getting the cross in, because they could have played with Chris Wood till midnight tonight and he wouldn't score.
Yeah, but just so good, such a good performance. And yeah, all of a sudden it looks a lot better. Only 2 points behind the mighty Hatters now. And Dave's dreaming of Europe. What else? What else can we say? That has been your Blue Room Instant Reaction for Notts Forest 0, Everton 1. Cheers to Dave Downey. Pete, are you going to sing us out?
You make me feel Dwight McNeil. You make me feel Dwight McNeil.